You're with a woman. The moment is right. The tension is there. And then your body doesn't cooperate. You go soft. And in that split second, everything changes. Your mind starts racing. She notices. You notice her noticing. And suddenly the most intimate moment of your night becomes the most uncomfortable. I've sat across from hundreds of men who have been in exactly that room in exactly that moment. And what I'm about to tell you is going to completely change how you see that experience. Because what if going soft wasn't the problem? What if it was actually the doorway to something she has been quietly craving her entire life and has never once been given? I'm Magda Kay, an intimacy expert, and I have spent over a decade working with men and couples on performance, connection, and the kind of sex life that doesn't just survive, but deepens over time. Every week I'm going to be your secret weapon to understanding women. Her mind, her body, what she truly desires, what turns her on, what shuts her down. Not what she says she wants, because women are complex and what we voice is often just the surface layer. I'm going to take you beneath that, because the men who truly understand women who have the most satisfying relationships and the most electric sex lives are the men who stopped guessing and started learning. So today I want to share something with you that most men have never heard of. And the ones who have tried it are the ones sending me messages saying it saved their relationship. It's a practice called caressa. The name comes from the Italian word carezza, meaning caress. And it is one of the most powerful, most overlooked, most misunderstood practices in all of intimacy. Not because it is complicated, because it is almost insultingly simple. And yet it does something that 20 minutes of hard performance can almost never do. It makes a woman feel genuinely, deeply, fully met. Let me explain what caressa actually is, because I want you to understand it at a level that goes beyond just technique. Caressa is a slow, deeply present, fully sensual way of being with a woman that removes climax entirely from the equation. There is no goal. There is no finish line. There is no performance being judged. It is the practice of being with each other, skin to skin, heart to heart, breath to breath, without anything needing to happen, without anything needing to be proven. Now I know what some of you are thinking. If there is no climax, what is the point? And that is exactly the kind of thinking that has been quietly creating distance between you and the women in your life without you even realizing it. Because here is what I need you to understand about women. Orgasms are wonderful. Penetration is wonderful. But what a woman is truly hungry for, what she thinks about in the middle of ordinary days, what she compares relationships by, is not the physical peak. It is the feeling of being completely present with someone, of being held, seen, chosen, and stayed with, of feeling like she is not a destination you are rushing toward, but a place you genuinely want to be. Caressa is that feeling made physical. When you practice caressa, you are not trying to get somewhere. You are removing your mind entirely from performance, from timing, from whether you are hard enough or lasting long enough or doing it right. All of that mental noise, the loop that so many men get trapped in. What if I go soft? What will she think? What if it happens again? That loop disappears. Because when there is nothing to achieve, there is nothing to fail at. And in that space, something extraordinary happens. You relax, truly relax. And she feels it, and she relaxes too. That relaxation is not a consolation prize. It is the whole point. Here is something that might surprise you. Women have a deep physiological longing to be filled and to be stayed with. Just like you have a powerful drive toward release, women have an equally powerful, though very different, drive toward being held and lingered with. When a man finishes and rolls over or falls asleep, it is not just emotionally disconnecting for a woman. Her entire nervous system is left in a kind of suspended state, still open, still seeking, still waiting for the connection that never quite arrived. She will not always say this. In fact, she probably will not say it at all, but her body is experiencing it. Caressa addresses this directly, beautifully. And it does it at exactly the moment that most men are most tempted to check out. Here is the most powerful version of this practice, and the part I want you to truly hear. When you are inside her and you allow yourself to naturally soften, instead of withdrawing, instead of apologizing, instead of feeling shame, you stay. You hold her, you breathe together, you drift into rest together, still connected. That moment, that specific moment of softening while staying, is one of the most healing experiences a woman's body can receive. Her nervous system, which has been waiting and hoping and opening throughout your time together, finally gets to fully land. She is not left with that invisible feeling of being abandoned mid-connection. She is held through the ending. The gentlemen who have brought this practice into their relationships consistently tell me the same things. She cried and said she had never felt that safe with anyone. She became more affectionate, more open, more interested in being physical more often. The anxiety I had around sex started to dissolve because I stopped treating it like a test. These are not small changes. These are the kinds of shifts that define a relationship. Now, I want to speak directly to something. There is a difference between occasionally struggling to stay hard, which is something that happens to virtually every man at some point in his life, and noticing that it is becoming a pattern, something that is happening more and more frequently and is starting to affect your confidence even outside the bedroom. When it is occasional, caressa is a beautiful tool that transforms what could feel like a failure into one of the most connected experiences you can offer a woman. But when it is becoming consistent, your body is communicating something. It is telling you that something in the system needs attention. And popping a blue pill is not attention. It is a mask. It might work in the short term, but it creates dependency, it does not address the underlying cause, and it keeps you in a cycle of anxiety rather than breaking it. There is a completely natural way to address performance challenges at the root. No pills, no embarrassing side effects, no needing to plan your intimacy around a medication. I have walked hundreds of men through this process over the past decade, and the results are consistent and lasting. If this is something you want to explore, the link is in the description and I will walk you through everything personally. But let us come back to caressa, because I want to leave you with the full picture of why this practice is so much more than a backup plan for difficult nights. Caressa teaches your body and your nervous system an entirely new relationship with intimacy. Most men and most of our culture have framed sex as something that builds toward a peak and then ends. Tension, release, done. And while that can be wonderful, it is also a very narrow definition of what intimacy can be. It is like only ever eating one dish. Even if you love that dish, you are missing an entire world of flavor. Caressa expands the menu. It introduces you to a quality of connection that is slower and deeper, and for many couples, more satisfying in its after effects than even the most intense physical peak. The intimacy you feel lying still together, breathing present without any agenda, tends to linger for days. You think about each other differently. You are kinder without trying to be. There is a warmth that stays. Women feel this and they respond to it in ways that show up in every corner of your relationship, not just the bedroom. I also want to say something about the men who practice this. There is a very particular kind of confidence that comes from a man who is not desperate to perform, who is not monitoring himself constantly, checking in with anxiety, terrified of what the next hour might reveal about him. The man who can slow down, be fully present, and let the experience be whatever it is, that man is magnetic to women. Not because of technique, because of presence, because of the signal his body is sending that says, I am here, I am not afraid, and I am not going anywhere. That is what caressa builds. Not just better sex on the occasional difficult night, a fundamentally different energy in how you show up with a woman. I genuinely believe that every couple should incorporate caressa into their regular intimacy, not as a replacement for everything else, as an addition that enriches everything else. It gives you options. It gives you confidence. It gives her the one thing she is almost never given, which is the experience of being completely met exactly where she is, without anything being rushed or performed or pushed toward a conclusion. If you have never tried this, I want you to try it this week. Not because something is wrong, because something extraordinary is available to you that most men will never discover. And if you are dealing with more persistent challenges, the kind that are showing up regularly and creating anxiety, click the link in the description. Let me walk you through what I have seen work for hundreds of men naturally, permanently, and without any of the shame or dependency that comes with the shortcut options. You deserve a sex life that feels good, that builds over time, that makes her want to come closer rather than quietly disconnect. And she deserves a man who knows how to give that to her. Lots of love, darling. See you next week.